We've seen clear morphological changes. For instance, in cohorts treated with symbiotics, say a mix of beta-glucan and Pediococcus acidilactocyi, researchers saw a significant increase in the number and height of intestinal villi.
And that increased surface area is where nutrient absorption happens, right? So that connects directly back to that FCR improvement you mentioned.
It connects perfectly because the research suggests this growth promotion isn't just because the animal is eating more. It's multifactorial, of course, but it's heavily driven by enhanced nutrient efficiency.
A whole new era of communication in the global aquaculture industry is coming. Now you have the brightest minds in aquaculture right in your pocket. And what's best? You can listen to all of them while driving to a farm, traveling, or running errands. It's never been this good, and it's never been this simple. Welcome to the Aquaculture Podcast Show, the first AI-based podcast in aquaculture, where you'll find cutting-edge insights in everything that's working in aquaculture, nutrition, health, and production. Inspired by the 2022 article titled Harnessing the Potentialities of Probiotics, Prebiotics, Symbiotics, Paraprobiotics, and Postbiotics for Shrimp Farming by Joanna Xuan Hui et al.
In modern shrimp farming, we're constantly walking a tightrope. You have these high-density systems all over the world, and producers are trying to maximize profitability while, constantly fighting off the threat of disease and try to maintain quality.
That tension is really the defining challenge. The moment you increase stocking densities, you're also increasing the animal's susceptibility to pathogens. It's an economic reality, but it brings huge biological risk.
Right.
So what we're seeing in recent research, like the work from Go and her colleagues, is a major shift away from just conventional treatment.
Toward what exactly?
Towards functional bacterial-derived additives. We're talking about tools that can actively help combat really devastating diseases like acute hepatopancreatic necrosis disease, HPND, by actually supporting the shrimp's own natural defenses.
Feed formulation software is stuck in the past. Most tools haven't evolved beyond basic least-cost optimization. A Diet Forge changes that. It's an AI-powered platform with nonlinear ingredient modeling for enzymes and additives, cost per gain and maximum profit optimization, and real-time collaboration like Google Docs for nutrition. Every recommendation is grounded in world-class research, built for modern nutritionists who need more than legacy desktop software can deliver. Work seamlessly with your team and optimize the way modern operations demand. Try dietforge.ai free today. Feed formulation, finally modernized.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The terminology around these additives, probiotics, prebiotics, symbiotics, paraprobiotics, postbiotics, it can be a lot.
It can be.
But what the research seems to make very clear is that their potential goes way beyond just stopping one single disease outbreak.
Yeah.
They seem to be fundamentally changing the performance metrics across the board.
Oh, absolutely they are. When you really drill down into the measurable outcomes in cultured shrimp, the benefits consistently fall into, I'd say, 3 major categories that directly impact a farmer's bottom line.
Let's stick with that bottom line then. Let's start with performance. What are the key metrics we're seeing improve?
First and foremost is growth promotion. And this isn't just a marginal gain.
Not just a small bump.
No, we're seeing really significant increases in the specific growth rate, SGR, and of course higher weight gain. But for any producer listening, the key metric is always the feed conversion ratio, the FCR.
Always the FCR.
When you see that number drop, you are immediately changing the economics of your operation.
Yeah.
I mean, even a slight improvement translates directly to huge savings in operational costs every single cycle. You're just getting more animal from less feed.
That efficiency is absolutely critical. So what about the other side of that risk equation? Survival rates.
That's the second pillar, really. Enhanced survival and resistance. Of course, you see higher survival rates in challenge studies. That's expected.
Sure.
But we also see better resistance to infectious diseases out in the field. And what's maybe less appreciated is how these additives improve endurance to non-biological stressors.
You mean things like water quality fluctuation?
Exactly. We're talking about chronic issues in intensive systems, things like oxidative stress or ammonia stress, which can suppress the immune system even when a specific pathogen isn't present. You're basically creating a more resilient animal.
So before we get deeper into growth, let's talk about defense. You mentioned enhanced immunity, specifically the prophenyl oxidase system.
Yeah.
What exactly is being activated there?
It's a profound cellular defense mechanism. The prophenyl oxidase, or propio system, is basically the shrimp's first responder innate immune engine.
The first line of defense.
Oh, it's the first line. It gets triggered by pathogens and kicks off key defense processes. And we have concrete evidence that after introducing these additives, the host just flips the switch on this core system much more effectively.
And that includes more immune cells.
It does. A measurable increase in the total hemocyte count. More circulating immune cells, which are fundamental for defense and repair.
So boosting that propio activity, is that what gives the shrimp the extra time it needs to fight off an infection before it becomes a total loss?
That is precisely the practical application. You're increasing the speed and the efficiency of that innate defense. It gives the animal a much better shot at clearing an infection before it becomes a clinical disaster.
Right.
And on top of that, we see enhanced phagocytotic activity right at the gut lining. The host is literally better at eating and neutralizing invaders right where they try to get in.
Which brings us to the gut.
Yeah.
The gastrointestinal tract. When these are administered orally, that's ground zero for all the action.
It is. The whole mechanism is a story of gut modulation. These ingredients work to promote a state of what we call rebiosis.
Rebiosis, so restoring a healthy balance.
A swift restoration of an optimal microbial balance. And this directly counters the conditions that let infections take hold. It happens in two ways: physical strengthening and competitive exclusion.
Can you break down that physical strengthening part? Because the research points to actual visible changes in the gut structure, which is fascinating.
Absolutely. The additives help strengthen the intestinal barrier. They adhere and they complement the native beneficial bacteria, which physically helps block invaders.
And the structural changes.
We've seen clear morphological changes. For instance, in cohorts treated with Symbiotic, say a mix of beta-glucan and Pediococcus acidilactocyi, researchers saw a significant increase in the number and height of intestinal villi.
And that increased surface areas where nutrient absorption happens, right? So that connects directly back to that FCR improvement you mentioned.
It connects perfectly because the research suggests this growth promotion isn't just because the animal is eating more. It's multifactorial, of course, but it's heavily driven by enhanced nutrient efficiency.
And how does that efficiency show up at the, let's say, the biochemical level?
It's catalyzed by increased enzymatic activity. We see higher levels of the key digestive enzymes, amylase, protease, lipase, especially with prebiotic intervention.
So prebiotics act as a catalyst.
They do. Things like fructooligosaccharides seem to help the shrimp just extract far more nutritional value from the same amount of feed, which is what drives that FCR down.
That's a huge win. But let's move up the chain a bit to symbiotics, the combination of a probiotic and a prebiotic. This seems like the next level of intervention. What's the specific advantage of combining them?
It's all about synergistic potential. Co-administration accelerates that restoration of gut balance far more effectively than either one does alone. The research is very clear on this.
And what does that mean for pathogens?
These combinations actively suppress pathogenic Vibrio species, a major threat everywhere, while at the same time promoting the colonization of beneficial species, like lactic acid bacteria.
And that synergy isn't just about the microorganisms themselves, right? It also influences the host's metabolism directly.
Correct. The fermentation process itself creates these incredible metabolic benefits. It produces beneficial metabolites, including non-essential amino acids like alanine and tyrosine, and even essential ones like histidine and lysine.
So it's like an internal nutrient factory.
In a way, yes. It also stimulates the release of cofactors and vitamins, which just boosts the host's overall metabolic health.
That sounds incredibly powerful, but also complicated. If success really depends on pairing the perfect prebiotic with the perfect probiotic, isn't there a huge risk of getting it wrong?
That is probably the most critical technical caveat in this whole field.
So what happens if you pick the wrong combo?
You can actually hurt performance. An improper prebiotic substrate might not be used by the target probiotic, and it could hinder digestion. It's why rigorous screening and, frankly, high-quality product development are completely non-negotiable. You can't just mix and match.
It requires real technical expertise. Okay, let's pivot to what I think is a major paradigm shift in this research. The fact that you don't even need live bacteria for some of these effects, paraprobiotics and postbiotics.
Yes, and this is so important for practical application. We're talking about logistics, Cost and stability.
How so?
Paraprobiotics, these are non-viable microbial cells, often heat-killed. They show powerful effects, but they're much more stable, easier to store, and simpler to deliver than sensitive, live probiotic strains.
But how can a dead cell still provide a biological benefit? Does the mechanism still work?
It does, because the effectiveness often lies in the cell wall components or the metabolites inside the cell. These can still interact with the host's immune receptors.
You have an example.
Sure. Research has shown that heat-killed Lactobacillus plantarum significantly improved feed efficiency and growth in Kuruma shrimp. Another study found sonicated L. plantarum elevated digestive enzyme activity. These are real, measurable improvements from a non-viable organism.
So even inactivated, they still offer protective effects.
Absolutely. We still see enhanced immunity, higher hemocyte counts, better pro-PO activity. The immune response is still being triggered. And crucially, they can offer protection against environmental stressors, like a sudden change in salinity, which is a constant challenge.
Okay, finally, let's touch on a dual benefit. These don't just help the shrimp. Some of them actually improve the water they're living in.
This is a great point and a huge part of the sustainability angle. Certain bacterial strains can significantly improve water quality.
How do they do that?
They actively reduce concentrations of total inorganic nitrogen and reactive phosphorus. They're basically helping to process waste products in the water column.
An essential tool for high-density systems. Now, is this another case where viability doesn't matter?
No, and this is a really critical technical distinction. For the water ameliorative effect, viability seems to be key. It's much more prominent when viable probiotics are inoculated directly into the water.
So you need the live organism for that specific job.
Exactly. Viable lactobacillus species were shown to succeed in nitrogen and phosphorus modulation, where the heat-killed strains failed. So the application really has to be tailored to the problem you're trying to solve.
So to wrap this all up, the science strongly suggests these additives are a much safer, more sustainable alternative to relying on antibiotics.
They are. You avoid the concerns about drug residue, about resistance development, and the efficacy isn't just theoretical. Challenge tests have shown that some of these ingredients, like Bacillus subtilis, can offer protection comparable to an antibiotic like florfenicol against a serious pathogen like Vibrio harvia.
That performance parity is incredibly persuasive. But for the professionals listening, the final decision always comes down to technical application and, of course, economics. So while the data is strong, the next big challenge really shifts to the supply chain. The industry now has to focus on developing cost-effective, high-quality production methods for these additives to ensure there's a stable, reliable, and affordable supply. And beyond that, we absolutely have to establish and maintain rigorous, transparent screening protocols to ensure these high-performing bacterial strains don't inadvertently carry any antibiotic resistance genes. That focus on production quality and safety is where the real innovation is needed to drive sustainable aquaculture forward.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the Aquaculture Podcast Show on your favorite platform. And don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook to stay updated on the latest episodes and industry insights. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.